I'm Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today we are looking at the 2022 Volvo V90 Cross Country, and I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from Leavens Volvo Cars London, that has a fantastic location, beautiful showroom, elite customer care, and who offers some of the most safe, practical, and luxurious vehicles on the road today, including this one. Now, the V90 is Volvo's versatile midsize luxury wagon based on the S90 sedan. That took over for the beloved V70 wagon that lasted for about 20 years. And that success is because Volvos are created by people that live in cold, dark, and difficult climates. So they appreciate high levels of safety and practicality. But it is also scenic and serene there. So they are also luxuriously appointed and beautifully designed. And they are part of a small group of luxury wagons in North America that stands out and looks, but unfortunately in looks alone, because most people still will gravitate towards those luxury German offerings. So we take a look at the facts, feels, and final thoughts of the 2022 Volvo V90 Cross Country to see if it is in fact the wagon lover's wagon that you should buy. So let's take a look. And the V90 is Volvo's top-tier luxury car that is extra large, extra luxurious, and extra everything else, including price. And this year, it only comes dressed for the outdoors in this more trendy, rugged, I can go anywhere across country trim. And you're going to come in to start around $65,000 Canadian. That's well appointed, plus fees and taxes. Something like this that is almost fully loaded, you're looking about $78,000 plus fees and taxes. And really, it's only minus the fancier climate control in the back and the nicer seats as well. So you could get a little over $80,000 Canadian, but that is still a really good value compared to the Germans. So let's talk competition. Now, it is a short list for wagon lovers, as we said. So essentially, you're looking at the Audi A6 all-road or the Mercedes E450 all-terrain. Now, option for option, or similar option to similar option, they're probably going to be at least $10,000 or more for those German counterparts. And we don't want to forget about who's in the rear, Subaru. Yes, it is significantly cheaper, and yes, it is not even near the same league as far as luxury, but it is a similar size, similar straight line speed, and similar features. So let's talk performance. And the V90 uses Volvo's tried and true 1 and only 2-liter supercharged, turbocharged, direct injected inline 4 with a mild 48-volt hybrid system, which is going to give you 295 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, which is capable of rocketing this 200-pound Swedish beauty from 0 to 60 in around 6.5 seconds. And it's also going to give you, according to my research, around 25 miles per gallon combined as well. Now, all of that power runs through the 8-speed Aisin automatic transmission, which is a Japanese company known for creating smooth shifting luxury transmissions. And all that power also runs through the 4-wheel drive system. Now, it's an intelligent one that does all the figuring out for you, and it is front bias. But it's nice to know that it is capable of sending about 50% of that torque to the back if need be. Now, also, when we got to steer, we are talking about electric steering, because it's a Volvo, it's safe, and it's got all those fancy-dancy active safety features on it. And it's got these beautiful upgraded 19 to 20 diamond cut 20-inch matte black rims, and they are absolutely stunning. And they are wrapped in these very versatile all-season 245/45 R20 tires. And when we come back here, we also need to stop. So we got to talk about those brakes. They're silver, so they're not as good as red ones. That's what I hear. However, they are 2 piston in the front, 1 piston in the rear, and you're looking at about 13-inch discs in the front, and you're looking about 12 in the rear. And of course, you have ABS and stability and all that stuff, and it's Volvo's, so it's really good. Now, let's talk suspension. And it uses aluminum double wishbone in the front and a multi-link system in the rear with a lightweight leaf spring. And the reason why they do that is it still gives you some nice balanced neutral handling, but most importantly, and some good suspension travel, but most importantly, it's about cargo. It's going to give you a great cargo floor, easy to get into with lots of space. Now, all of these things are attached to a chassis, so let's talk chassis. And it uses Volvo's SPA scalable chassis, which I think they use pretty much across the board because it was designed with the future in mind, hybridization and safety. So it's very rigid and a solid chassis. So you're looking at about 68 decibels on the highway, which is very respectable for noise. And it also holds the road quite well at about 0.85 Gs on the skid pad. And with this here being a more outdoorsy version with the cross country, it actually has a pretty decent ride height at 8 inches off the ground, and you can actually water forward. You still want to be careful, but you could actually do about 11 inches. And again, you're talking CUV type territory. And we're looking at about 115-inch wheelbase, which is very similar to the Ford Bronco. Now, when we come back here, I don't see any exhaust, but I know there are some, and they sound like this. And when properly equipped, you can tow about 3,500 pounds with your V90 cross country, which is the equivalent to one of these urban active lifestyles hanging off the back of your cross country. And what's interesting is Volvo is marketing to use the hill descent when backing up a trailer, especially when putting a boat in the water or something like that, when you want that extra stability. And it's got that extra nice backup camera on here as well. So now that we've taken a look at the facts, let's take this for a drive and see how they feel. Okay, it's time to do our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test. Like, we got a load full of Swedish meatballs back there. So here we go. Got our foot on the brake and we're gonna hammer the gas. Here we go. Takes a second to pick up, but now it's going pretty good. And we got up to close to highway speed there. Now, is it the world's fastest vehicle off the line? No, but for something that weighs over 4,000 pounds and it's got a 2-liter in it, I think that it works really, really well. I didn't feel unsafe by any means. I think you could easily pass people, easily get on the highway. Okay, it's time to do our emergency brake style type test, and we hope that all those meatballs don't come flying up here with us. So here we go, left foot on the brake, basically doing everything in reverse. Here we go. Just like before, it takes a few seconds to pick up. We got lots of zip, and we're gonna go hard on the brakes. And that stopped really, really good. Again, you've got 2 pistons in the front, 1 piston in the rear. To me, that's kind of small for a vehicle this heavy, but I could not tell. It stopped really, really well. Pedal does not feel spongy, and just driving around day to day, it feels really good and quite adequate for braking. Okay, and here's where we do a handling test where we push the car harder than we ever probably should on a normal road, but we're on a little parking lot here, so we're giving it some gusto. I mean, it feels porky. You can feel that really heavy, kind of like me after turkey. Nice tight in there. I mean, just for cruising around, it holds the road really well considering what it is. But I mean, it's no track car, that's for sure. You wouldn't really want to go much faster than what we're doing right here. And this is the part of the test where we tested the suspension to see how it feels on uneven ground. So this is a beautiful $80,000 vehicle, so we're obviously not off-roading it, but we're going down a gravel driveway type thing that would be very similar to where the cross country, I would imagine, would probably be going. You know, a lot of people have cottages and things like that, need to go down some back roads or even some fire type roads if you're looking for a little bit more adventure. So that's kind of what we're going through here. As you can see, this suspension, even though it's the base suspension, it soaks up these little bumps very, very good. I can barely feel anything. Yeah, it's a nice, pleasant place to be, and very, very capable with that 8 inches of ground clearance. And as we were saying, you can actually water ford or wade up to almost a foot or 11 inches. Now, when we talk styling, I'm more of a V60 type of wagon fella than I am the V90 cross country. Just in the same way, I'm not really a big fan of your new wildernesses for Outback or any of these types of things. I like my cars being cars, my trucks being trucks, my SUVs being SUVs. But I definitely do understand this. I do understand the idea of not wanting to get into that sea of SUVs and holding on for dear life and getting a car that's got a little bit more practicality. And really, this is probably the way that all cars should be, because it's a great level of practicality, because you don't have to worry a lot in inclement climates, because you've got that all-wheel drive, that extra ride height, things like that. But yeah, and I like the way that they kept the overall boxy shape, of course, that Volvo knows. Those nice big long lights in the back, your Thor hammer headlights, those beautiful 20-inch wheels, all the appointments that make Volvo on the outside you still have, and they haven't gone overboard with that cladding either. They still kept it elegant, which I appreciate. And when you come in here, same idea. You do have a little bit more rugged look in here, or utilitarian with these seats. And I'm just going to go ahead and spend a $3,000 or $4,000 for you, because this is already $7,000 to $8,000 Canadian plus fees and taxes. So to me, if you're going to spend that money, you can probably afford that extra $3,000 or $4,000. And to me, those extra nice seats are worth it. Not only do you get like massaging and more adjustability and the thigh cushions and all that, and ventilated, but to me they just look the part. They're gorgeous. They're thin, ultra thin. They look like there's tons of support. They look very sporty and modern, ergonomic, comfortable, you name it. That's what those particular seats are. But these ones are still nice. They look easy to clean. They're very comfortable, including in the back as well, all the way around, and they're heated all the way around as well. So can't really complain about the seats, other than the fact that there's nicer seats available. What to say as well as when we're looking at the overall interior in here, there's tons of greenhouse space, even though it's got a high belt line and thick pillars to give that extra level of safety, but you still feel quite airy in here, especially with that large, beautiful panoramic sunroof. As we said, when we're talking, we might as well talk back there while we're back there, is those people also have a lot of light because of the sunroof, and they have similar seats back there, so they look like they're easy to keep clean and things like that. This does not have the free upgrade to get the built-in booster seats, but just to know that if you do get those nicer seats that we were talking about, you're also going to eliminate the option of being able to get that no charge option. But realistically, you'd probably better have those really, really awesome seats and just put your own booster seat in there. But just to keep that in mind. But as you can see, there's 60-40 split, and you do have a pass-through, so there's tons and tons of space. And in the trunk, I think it's around 26 cubic feet. Don't quote me on that. You'll see it on the screen what the right number is. The main thing is there's tons of space back there with the seats up, and obviously with the seats down. And it's nice and convenient too, because they give you a power lift gate. Although you can see it's not the easiest to use with the kick. At least I couldn't figure it out with the kick sensor on the bottom. Now when we come back here up front, this steering wheel. I'm a sucker for steering wheels. I really like this one. It's not overly school busy, considering this is a school busy type vehicle. It feels really good in the hand, good size. I like the coloring of it, and I like Volvo how it's got the double rim here and the circle that goes around the outside. Really like that. It's a nice looking horn here. That's the Neutral Ruse shout out there, subscription shout out. And yeah, and you've got these gloss black buttons on here for fingerprints and everything else. I don't really like the way that they look. To me, I don't know, they just look kind of cheap with me. A lot of the switchgear in here doesn't fit the price point. It all works good, but that's just a Volvo thing. This telescopic and tilting steering wheel, just so you know, but it's manual. You do have memory for those seats in here as well, 2 settings. And you've got no metal pedals, but you're not looking at your feet, and it's probably because this is the cross-country version. You've got just a normal shifter over here. If you're used to Volvo, you've got the push button for park, and the start-stop is not a button, it's a twisty, but it looks really fancy and feels good. You've got your electronic parking over here, your auto start-stop that you can turn on and off. And when we're talking about practical features, you've got your wireless charger here. You got this nice little thing that you can cover up to cigarette-style plug. Over there, you do have 2 cup holders that fit a fair amount of water bottles. And there's a fair amount of space in here with 2 USB-C plugins, as you can see. Glove compartment, not lockable that I know of, but there's tons of space in there, and it's got a felt-type material to keep stuff from sliding around and keep it quiet in there as well. And when we're talking about other things like technology in here, it has been upgraded, and it looks really, really good in here. This is a beautiful center display. It's as nice to me as Audi. It's just not as configurable. Basically, you just have your map in here that you can switch over on this side in and out. But I do like that on the steering wheel they do have radio control, so you can go up and down your volume and up and down stations, but you can also do it down here with these hard buttons, which I like. Again, with all ergonomics, and it doesn't date the vehicle. It's very, very slim. It's very sleek down here. Nice buttons. They feel good and everything else like that. Now, this infotainment, this is that Google-based one, so it's kind of neat. You can talk to it, so you don't even really need to interact with it. Google, change the temperature to 18 degrees Celsius.
Okay, changing the temperature to 18 degrees.
And you can do that for a myriad of different things. You can't work your Apple CarPlay, obviously, because that's a different system, but everything else looks really, really good. So you can do it through the touch, you can do it through several different ways, but really that voice actually works really good. It's like your Siri, or for this, you know, your Google Assistant works really, really well. As we said, you do have Apple CarPlay full screen, which is nice. Android Auto, I would assume, would be the same thing. At least my Apple CarPlay is plugged in. I'm surprised it's not wireless, but whatever. It does work really good, and it's nice to have. But I really like this system in general. It is super intuitive. You've got your main menu here that you can always get to with the home screen. You got those tiles there, and if you got better eyes or you're younger than me, you can put more on the screen if you feel like. When you're parked down here, you have hard loaded the camera button, which, as you can see, works really good. 360 camera, good resolution. You can also pick if you just want front camera, sides, or back, and that front camera is really nice to have as well, especially if you are in some bad situations and you're not quite sure what's ahead of you, whether it's a parking lot or if you're in a back road somewhere. It's always nice to see what's in front of you. I really like that. I hope that these types of things come standard, like back cameras now, over the years. But yes, it works really, really well. Everything is at a push of a button. Zoom in, zoom out, very similar gestures to your phone. As you can see, it's quite responsive. But one of the other things is that climate control is always hard, again, positioned down here. So it doesn't matter what screen that you're in, you can always get access electronically to your heating and cooling, your heated seats, your heated steering wheel, as you can see there, up and down temperature, things like that. And if you hit it, it'll bring up the full menu to give you all the other extra stuff too. And as we said, you can always get back to home at a push of a button. It's a really, really, really nice system, have to say. And we normally don't get into the radio, but I have to say, this Bowers and Wilkins system is incredible. Savage Geese, if you ever watch that program, they get into the radio and they always talk about, if you're going to get a Volvo, get the Bowers and Wilkins, and I can see why, because I'm not even into that stuff and it sounds really, really good, which leads me to my final thoughts. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and check out one of our other luxury car reviews that also happens to be on a Volvo, so we can get more cool cars like this one and our upcoming review on a Tiguan. And if you've already subscribed, thank you for your support. Now, we started off this review by looking to see if the V90 Cross Country was the wagon lover's wagon that you should buy. And here are the facts and feels that we used to come up with this final thought, which is, whether you're leaping up from that Subaru or you're descending down from those German offerings, I don't think that you can go wrong with the 2022 Cross Country V90. And the reason is, it's 98% of those Germans at 80% of the price. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.